Hi everyone, my name is Sydney Lozier and I'm going to be discussing my grant proposal. My public health internship was completed with the Florida Department of Health, so much of what I observed was within WIC. However, I did have the opportunity to sit in within a few different programs meetings, so I could see the different collaborations that are required when creating a new program and seeing how you have to work together to really better the health of the community. After speaking with my preceptor, we both decided that the county could benefit most from a diabetes education program because diabetes is highly prevalent in Hernando County, Florida. I will go further in depth in that next slide, but there's really no programs set in place for the management of diabetes. And in my time observing at WIC, I found many of the mothers did not have a good knowledge base on the importance of the insulin or the metformin they're taking and the importance of carbohydrate counting. After doing research through Florida Health Charts, County Health Rankings, and the Census Bureau, I was able to gather a good amount of statistics and further decide that diabetes is an area that needs more care and prevention within Hernando County. So the average life expectancy of those residing in Hernando County is approximately 77.2 years. As of 2022, 11% of the population in Hernando County is diagnosed with diabetes, and this is 0.5% more than the national average, so it is concerning. Additionally, 33% of individuals are obese, which is a comorbidity of diabetes. 17% of individuals have frequent mental distress. Diabetes is the fourth most common disease, and diabetes B and diabetes A are both listed as avoidable hospitalizations. The poverty rate is higher than the national average, and it's at about 12.5%, and only about 19% of individuals have bachelor's degrees in Hernando County, which is much lower than the national average of 37.9%. As you can see here, those residing in Hernando County in general are of a lower socioeconomic status and may not have the means to correctly control their diabetes, and they also might not have the proper education to do so as well. After doing my environmental scan, I found that Hernando County was lacking diabetes management education. The only type of diabetes education I was able to locate through my research was through the YMCA. The YMCA does provide pretty frequent classes for diabetes prevention, however, there's no diabetes management education currently. The Florida Department of Health used to do more education with diabetes and also gestational diabetes, so these types of programs were primarily virtual and the attendance rate was very low, and this likely was due to the lack of advertisement, which I will be taking into consideration with the development of this program. Culinary interventions are also not found currently in Hernando County, Florida, and the access to nutritious foods seems to be lacking outside of the home specifically. So most of the restaurants that you will see when you go out in that area are going to be fast food options, like this picture with McDonald's, Taco Bell, KFC. When you're driving down that main road, it's literally just fast food chain after fast food chain, and there's really not a whole lot of local food dining areas that you could get healthier options, and this is likely due to the lower cost. Fast food is, also faster and typically at a lower cost. With the high consumption of these fast foods, it makes sense why obesity is at 33% and also explains the higher diabetes prevalence as well. Those who have diabetes often have comorbidities like obesity, high blood pressure, and heart disease. Heart disease in Hernando County did make the top 10 list of deaths, and then high blood pressure was in the most prevalent conditions list in Hernando County as well. Since 17% of the population does suffer from frequent mental distress, this could be to a variety of reasons, but part of it could also be due to a lack of social support. So I developed a program here that is a culinary intervention program tailored specifically for diabetics that will also provide education tailored to diabetics. So yes, the participants are going to learn how to cook as a diabetic, but also they're going to learn the why behind it. Why do I need to balance out the carb ratio to my fats and protein? Why does it matter? How does it impact my long-term health? How do we count carbs, etc.? By holding a culinary intervention class, this could potentially improve the mental health and well-being of diabetics, because they're also going to be getting that sense of feeling of, social support, which has been proven in other studies to improve mental health. The name of the culinary intervention will be Behind the Stove Diabetes Intervention. The mission of the program is to improve nutrition knowledge and general health and well-being of diabetics while also enhancing confidence in the kitchen. The main focus of the culinary intervention will be on improving cooking skills, improving knowledge on carb counting, and also lots of tips on how to prepare a well-balanced meal, and information on how to properly eat outside of the home as a diabetic when many of the options are not the healthiest in the area, and just learning ways of creating a balanced meal in general. The program will be provided through a cooking school at Publix Apron Cooking School. Publix Apron Cooking School was chosen because they already provide classes to the public, and they're going to have all of the equipment already there. They have the chefs there, so it just seemed like the best option in the area, because it's really important that each little group within the class has their own kitchen so that it's hands-on and not just a demonstration. Because in order to gain that confidence, it's really important to take this hands-on type of approach. On this slide, I have a list of all of the program objectives that will occur within 2 years of the program. So by the third class or the third month, the participants' attitude toward eating and cooking for diabetes will have improved. Cooking and eating as a diabetic can be fun. You don't have to suffer. Participants will have an increased knowledge of carbohydrate counting by the 6th class, so that's by the 6-month mark. Participants will have improved confidence in the kitchen, which will in turn lead to more foods eaten within the home by the 6th class. And participants will become familiar with access to healthier foods and improve knowledge on resources for food, like local food pantries, by the 6th class. After 1 year, participants will have A1C levels in a healthier range, and after 2 years or 24 classes, diabetes-related hospitalizations will have decreased, as well as an improvement of health status among diabetics. So ideally, BMI will be in a healthier range overall, blood pressure will be healthier, and as will other comorbidities. Community partner organizations to the Behind the Stove Diabetes Intervention will be the Florida Department of Health for one. So dietitians from the Florida Department of Health will attend the culinary interventions. While they won't be the ones cooking, they will be the ones designing the meal, giving it to the chef and letting them, modify it a bit to make it more tasty. Also, the dietitians will be in charge of collecting certain data as participants walk in so that we can properly track to see how blood sugar may have improved over time and how confidence in the kitchen has improved, meal balance has improved, etc. So that'll be all up to the dietitian to keep track of and put in the laptop owned by Florida Department of Health and have it in a secure file. The nutrition manager at the Florida Department of Health will be the one analyzing the data after 6 months and after a year mark and after a 2-year mark. The Daystar Life Center is a food pantry in the area. So Daystar Life Center will be a partner organization which will help donate food items to the cooking class so that participants may be able to get the food without having to request as much money for the grant. And Publix Apron Cooking School will be where the location is for the actual class, and the chef at the cooking school will be working closely together with the dietitians. The annual estimated cost for behind the stove diabetic culinary intervention is about $18,500 a year. Some of the costs that are associated with this are the advertisement of the program, educational pamphlets to be handed out to participants that come to the cooking class, the reservation of the Publix cooking class. So in the reservation fee for the reservation of the room, this will also include the cost of the equipment, ingredients, any dishwashing matters. All of that is factored into the fee that has to go to Publix. In addition to that, there will be some donated food items that will go to Publix to lower the cost as well. Other costs are, of course, the staff members. So staff members that are going to be required to be at this intervention are 1 chef and at least 2 dietitians. And lastly, we do need a bus driver because this program is 1 town over from the Hernando County area. It might not be feasible for all of those who are living in Hernando County. Not everyone has accessibility to their own transportation, so it's important that we provide that transportation so we can reach as many people as possible. So some barriers to this program is going to be staff member availability. The class will be held at 6 p.m. on a weeknight. So the plan is to do this class on the first Thursday of every month. And of course, not every dietitian is going to be able to make this work. So finding a staff member who is open to this is going to be huge, and could definitely be a bit of a barrier. The cost of fuel is a concern because, the way things going with inflation and the gas prices going crazy, if they continue to go up, the cost of this program could alter a little bit. First of all, those who would normally drive may not want to because of the cost associated with getting there, and then the cost of the bus in general could get to be a bit much. And lastly, the inflation on groceries is another main concern. So the amount that Publix requires to be in there might alter depending on the cost of the groceries. When I started my initial research for finding grant funding available in Florida, I was kind of thinking that a federal grant would be the way to go for this type of program. However, after further research, I couldn't find a federal grant that really would allow this type of program. Most of them were very strict, like the food assistance ones I found were more centered around children or schools. There wasn't any that would be open to other culinary interventions. So I had to get a little creative, and I found a couple other ones. So first of all, I found the Lions Club International Foundation. So the goal of the Lions Club is to improve the quality of life for those with diabetes and to make a lasting impact on the epidemic of diabetes. They offer grants up to $250,000, which is more than enough. There's no way that they would donate that amount of money to this program. It's also not necessary. I mean, that would last for years, but it seemed like a very fitting foundation that would be open to a grant funding for this program. Another grant proposal is to the Diabetes Self-Management Education Mini Grant. So this is through the Florida Diabetes Alliance, and it offers amounts from $5,000 to $20,000 for new programs specifically, which are tailored to developing and increasing access to diabetes self-management education to adults in Florida. The overall goal of the Florida Diabetes Alliance is to strengthen the diabetes health system and to improve public health in Florida. This one is definitely right on point with, what this program needs, and also, even though they only offer up to $20,000, that would be a sufficient amount of money to get this program through the first year. And the last grant that I found was the American Culinary Federation Education Foundation. So this foundation is a healthy eating grant. The goal of this is to support nutrition activities in the community. These grant opportunities are available through events like cooking demos and programs like cooking classes. So this is where partnering with Publix is very important. So there needs to be a chef that is part of the program, otherwise they will not consider you for the grant. So partnering with Publix with one of the chefs is going to help tremendously with getting this last culinary grant. Future funding for the sustainability of this program may come from Meals on Wheels, Feeding Tampa Bay, and Publix Feeding America. Having these as a source of funding or a source of donations for food could be tremendously helpful to keep this program going, and it could lower the costs associated with Publix if there's more donated food items to begin with. And lastly, the YMCA would be a tremendous help to have as a funding program because they already have ties within the community. They hold their own virtual classes and in-person classes to help promote a healthier community. So the likability that they will be willing to fund a program meant to manage diabetes is quite high. If the program is unsuccessful, and with that meaning it does not gather enough participants each month, then there might be incentives that we'll have to make. And this is also where the YMCA could come in, where if you attend at least 3 classes or at least 6 classes, then you get 1 month free at the YMCA. Not only will this promote physical movement, but it will also increase the likelihood of people coming in, taking the class, and improving their health and taking charge of their diabetes, taking action, and really taking control of their health.